All right. Recording is in progress. All right, well, hello everyone, and a very warm welcome to our Viz For Social Good and Crowd2Map collaboration project closing live event. We are very happy to have you here, and I also just want to thank everyone who participated for all of their hard work. I'm just going to give you the message that this meeting is being recorded, so if you are uncomfortable with this, please feel free to hang up and we can share the recording with you later. Gonna hit this continue button. Okay, so what do we have in store for you today? Slides. Okay, so for today we're gonna do a quick little introduction. Well, first a quick hello and then a little introduction to Viz For Social Good, if by any chance you might have not heard of it before. We're gonna have an introduction from Janet to Crowd2Map, the project that we've been working on for the past month or so. We will then have a look at the 6 selected visualizations. And then after we have seen all 6 of them, we will have a look at the top 3 and a little discussion as to why they were picked and how we will be creating impact with them. And then we'll have a small closing. So first of all, yes, hello and welcome to everyone that's here on the call. I'm Amanda Patist. I am a data experience designer by day / trade, and then a member of Viz For Social Good. I act as one of the chapter leaders for Amsterdam in my free time. On the call with us, we also have Janet Chapman, who is the representative from Viz For Social Good, who is, I'm not sure if you can see her, but let's wave and say hello. Frederick Ferry is here. He's going to be orchestrating the whole event today. So hello and thank you for being here. We should also have a handful of the chapter leaders from around the globe. So this is a nice little global event we've got going on here. So I'm just going to take a small moment to walk through Viz For Social Good, what it is, who we are, what we do, and how you can be a part of it, just in case you don't know about it yet. Okay, so Viz For Social Good is a community project in which we harness the power of data visualization for social change. This was started by Chloe Tsang, a person that I have had the privilege of meeting many years ago and I'm able to call my friend. Absolutely inspiring woman. So she started this whole project as a solo initiative in about 2016, 2017. Since then, there has been a lot of growth. So started out with bringing the project to light at one of the Tableau conferences. Soon after that, the first project was launched, and then our website was launched. So this is when it became a full-fledged community project. Also, I will say that since then, not only have we, grown as a community project, but this project that Chloe has started has gained traction from many other places and gotten recognition from, for example, Fast Company, as well as the Information is Beautiful Award. So we're very proud of her and what she has been able to do. Viz For Social Good as a project, how does it work? So we partner with different nonprofits, be it local or international nonprofits. We found out what their data needs are and gather a little bit of data. And then a project is launched on our website. So you can sign up either as a volunteer via email, or we're quite active on social media. So follow us on Twitter as well to find out when there are new projects. So when the project is launched, there will be a new page on the website, and then you're provided with the data, the goals, and some graphics to help you work through the project. So step 2 is building and collaboration time. Previously, and this picture that you see here is of an actual live hackathon, which we used to have. I believe this one is from one of the ones that we had in London in the Tableau building. Now these collaborative sessions are a little bit more virtual as the time calls for. So we have, kickoff meetings, and then we have had a few local virtual events. So for example, about a month ago, at least here in Amsterdam, we did a collaboration with the Netherlands Tableau user group, where we did a live hackathon there, which was a lot of fun. We also have a Slack channel where you can come together with other people working on the projects and ask questions, collaborate, etc. And then at the end of this, when you've made your beautiful creations, you submit your data visualization. Previously, this was solely through Twitter. Now we also have a Google form, which is quite cool. And then you create impact. So the organization receives probably about 10 to 80 different visualizations from the community. And then they will select those which best bring the story of their data across. And then these will be featured in, for example, their website or in different copy or presentations, etc., which I do hope to learn a little bit more about later. So this is a global project. As I mentioned, we've had a lot of growth, and it's been really heartwarming to see how many people want to help nonprofits visualize their data. So up to date, we've had upwards of 30 projects. We've had upwards of 4,500 volunteers help us out. These volunteers and the projects come from all over the globe, so from North America, from Africa, from Europe, Asia, Australia. And we also have 18 local chapter leaders dotted around, all around the different countries. So we'll have a representative in most places that you can reach out to and ask questions or have a local live event there. So we've been honored to work with so many different nonprofits, such a huge variety, and they're ranging from smaller local nonprofits to the much bigger worldwide ones. So we've done some very great projects with, for example, Guys in St. Thomas's in London, where we were looking at diabetes data, which has been great. Furniture Bank data. Justice and Peace was actually one that a nonprofit here in The Hague, well, here in Holland, in The Hague, which is great because I actually got to go out and speak to them. But it ranges also from things like UNICEF or other UN projects. And this has been really cool because actually with these ones, the winners were able to actually go to the UN and present their data visualizations and see the impact really happen. As for today, we're going to be focusing on Crowd2Map. And with that, I'm going to hand this over to you, Janet, who will be giving us a introduction to Crowd2Map, and hopefully will also be letting us know who the 6 visitors are that will be presenting. I'm going to stop sharing my screen and hand it over to you.
Hi, I hope you can see my screen.
Yes, I can see it.
Great. Okay, so my name's Janet Chapman, Chair of Tanzania Development Trust, which is a volunteer-run charity that's been working with grassroots communities in rural Tanzania for 45 years. And about 5.5 years ago, we started Crowd2Map to map rural Tanzania for community development, but also to help protect girls from female genital mutilation. So for anyone who doesn't know, FGM is the cutting of female genitalia for cultural or religious reasons. It's illegal in Tanzania, but it happens widely in particular areas, as you can see on this map. And girls are rounded up during a cutting season while they're on the school holidays. So typically the FGM activists that we work with will get a phone call in the middle of the night saying there's girls about to be cut in, say, Kabancha village. So we've been working really closely with FGM activists such as Roby Samweli. So they do outreach work in the villages, as you can see here. They also rescue girls during the cutting season. But before we started, it was very difficult for girls and their protectors to find the safe houses and the safe house staff and the local gender desk to find the girls, because much of rural Tanzania looked like the map at the top. It looked like that in Google Maps. It also looked like that in OpenStreetMap, because in places like Dar es Salaam, there's been a lot of mapping work done, particularly for flood resilience, but much of rural Tanzania still needs to be mapped. So activists and many people in rural Tanzania need maps, and we've been making them for the last 5.5 years. I think we have over 16,000 online volunteers now from all over the world. I think there's some on the call, so welcome to them. I know Simon's here and Naledi, who you'll hear from later. So this is a two-stage process. We're mapping remotely from satellite images. So you can see here that somebody has added the roads here and tracks. Also, there's a building here that's been added, and there are some round buildings here that have not yet been added. So the first stage is to add, to do the base map of roads and buildings. And we have a Slack channel. People are very welcome to join if they are more interested in helping us with the mapping. It's an entirely volunteer effort. But we also train people on the ground in Tanzania to add their local knowledge, generally using a free app called Maps.me. So as you can see here, people have added, for example, the mosque, the clinic, some water points. And here you can see some of our community mappers adding the water point, which is just behind them here. And then we've been training people then to use the maps, particularly people like activists and the police gender desk. Maps.me is really good for routing to a particular place. So if you have a call that there's girls going to be cut and they're at the, say, Baptist church in Kabancha village, you can use Maps.me. It works offline once you've downloaded the app and downloaded the map, and then it will route you. So during the middle of the night with no street lights and maps, etc. This can be literally a lifesaver. We've also been training a network of digital champions in 87 villages. They're first-time smartphone users, and they're mapping their villages and also helping protect girls. And here they're seeing a map of their village for the first time and working out what still needs to be added. So we estimate that better maps have helped over 3,000 girls to find safe houses and avoid being cut. Every year during the cutting season, girls do bleed to death and their bodies are thrown into the bush. So this is a really big achievement. So as I said, anybody who's interested can help us map. We give full training and you get feedback on your mapping from our experienced mappers and validators, such as Simon, who's on the call. So big shout out to him. Those are my contact details. If you'd like to know more, please get in touch. And that's also our Twitter handle, which thank you. So many of you have been posting that. So that's been fantastic. And also, if anyone has any questions, please do put them in the chat. I'm happy to answer them. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. All right, I'm going to get back to sharing my screen. Oh, where did we get to? Perfect. Okay, Jana, thank you so much for that introduction and telling us all about the incredible work that you do. Okay, so it is time for us to share the 6 data stories that were selected by Janet and team. So we are going to have 6 presentations, 6 different vizzes. You have 5 minutes each, and I'm going to be calling you out. I have a slide after this saying who's coming up when. So you have 5 minutes each. We'd love to hear about the visualization that you built, why you built it, what the story is telling, and we'll have just a little bit of time for Q&A afterwards. Frederick is going to be on timing duty, and you will hear his timer go off when your time is up. We have a packed schedule, so yeah, we'll have to try and get the questions in as quickly as we can. So here are our speakers for today. First up, we have Delphine Gouvillois. I'm so sorry if I said that not correctly, but I'm going to stop sharing my screen now, and then I'll invite you, Delphine, to share your screen so that we can see your presentation.
Sounds good. Thanks, Amanda.
No problem.
All right. You can get the clock going, I guess. So yeah, in this pandemic world, to be able to do social good remotely, it's great. And to be able to use our data skills to do social good is even better. Just want to say thank you to the Viz For Social Good project. It's an amazing idea. It was my first participation this time, but I have bookmarked your project page and I look forward to future community projects. Big thank you as well to Janet and to the other Crowd2Map folks who have came up with the use case, provided the data, coordinated the event today, and gave us the opportunity to learn more about their nonprofit and all the amazing work that you guys do to help end FGM in Tanzania. So jumping right into my Viz, as you can see, the color theme, black and yellow. I was tempted to use all 4 colors from the logo, blue, green, yellow, black. But then it kind of gave a rainbow effect, and it was shifting away from the focus that I wanted to give on the metrics. So that's why I kept color theme to black and yellow, using the yellow to highlight some of the numbers, and especially the 3,000 girls prevented from undergoing FGM. The title, so the title, we have the quote, helping to end FGM in Tanzania through mapping. It's the quote that shows up on the Google search results for the official Crowd2Map website. And I like this quote quite a lot because it intrigued me at first. It's what made me want to know more about FGM and to understand why and how mapping actually helps to end FGM. And I guess by placing that quote in the title, my hope is that the viewers of the view will have the same exploration journey as me, having the curiosity to dig a little and understand better the link between mapping and FGM and what Crowd2Map does. So here we have big ass numbers band at the top, the metrics that demonstrate how much has been done already by Crowd2Map. It really recognizes the achievements and the quantified impact of the nonprofits. And actually, as you see here, when you hover over a number, you get a short description of the metric. So hovering over. I like the fact that we were able to show the % contribution of Crowd2Map to the overall country in terms of number of clinics, hospitals, added villages, and schools. So for example, for the clinics, we see like 1,000 out of almost 3,000 clinics in Tanzania, which is about 41%, so pretty impressive. And by clicking here, click for more KPIs, you can actually see a few more. You can see a few more KPIs. Sorry, I feel like it refreshed. You can see, I don't know why it's a bit slagging here, but you should be able to see more KPIs. And yes, here you go. So you have a few more KPIs, impressive 5.2 million of buildings added. And you can always go back to the other numbers by clicking here. So then 3 main visualizations. The first one here, it's where the volunteer mappers are located, represented by a yellow dot. I want to reckon that some folks have a very interesting position here in the middle of the ocean, but looks pretty cool to live here probably. But some takeaways here, we see that there is a big presence in the US. So you have the color scale to emphasize the countries with more mappers, represented by a darker black. By hovering over, you actually get the exact number of mappers in each country. So in the US, 20 remote mappers. And also what else the data is telling us, maybe there is an opportunity to expand a bit more in some countries, for example, in Russia. So I don't know if maybe Crowd2Map wants to target some of the communication there, or alternatively, maybe just Crowd2Map can build upon the existing presence and ask the volunteers to spread the word in their local community and further expand the number of volunteers in those areas where there's already a lot of people. Anyway, if you want to know more about a mapper, you can click on the dot. And if the photo is available, you can even see a photo of the remote mapper, giving you more context. So that's pretty cool. And you can see as well since when this person is a member. So in this case, for Maishika, since the 24th of May of 16, so a while ago now. The Viz number 2 is a sorted horizontal bar chart that shows the top 15 contributors in terms of OpenStreetMap edits.
Sorry, 30
so
seconds.
I just see, yeah, it's an opportunity to thank all the mappers and recognize the top contributors. And the third Viz and last one, really about how many followers and where, and Twitter has the most actually. And the placement at the bottom right is tactical, since it should be the last Viz seen by a user that logically navigates eyes from top left to bottom right. It kind of plays as a call to action where it invites the end users to click and go on Facebook or LinkedIn and learn a bit more about the nonprofits. So that's it.
Fantastic. That's a beautiful Viz. Thank you so much for sharing it with us. I did have one. Does anyone have any questions in the crowd? Feel free to either just take yourself off mute or drop them in the chat. No, I did have one small question for you. So you have on the sort of homepage of your Viz, you have selected 6 KPIs, and then you have your button where you go on to the next 6 KPIs. How did you decide which KPIs to show on the first page? Which ones that should be seen first?
Yeah, that's a good question. I wanted to show like the KPIs that were, to my mind, the most important. So the number of girls that are saved thanks to the nonprofits,
yeah,
like increasing with the yellow, as well as having that consistency between like showing the percent contribution to the overall country. And we had that data for clinics, hospitals, village, and schools. And I didn't want to put like all the KPIs in one page. So that's why to give it more space and bigger numbers. So that's why I decided to do it in kind of two windows and placing the one that I, most important here.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that explanation and congratulations. All right. In the interest of time, we're going to move over to our next visualization from Francis Okolo. So if you are happy to share your screen, that would be great.
Hello, everyone. I don't know if you can hear me.
I can hear you.
Hi, I'm Frances. How do I start? Sorry, I don't know what's happening. The slide isn't moving.
Oh no.
I think
can you
all right, I've got it. All right, so this is just about me. I'm a doctoral student at the University of Loughborough, and thank you for the opportunity to be able to present my visualization today. I'll just go straight to the point. So the task was to help communicate the impact that Crowd2Map had to date by creating an engaging data visualization that communicated the achievement of Crowd2Map on the website. And so I highlighted aspects I would like to show on my Viz in terms of impact, engaging Viz, communicating achievements, and making sure it went well with the website. And so I stuck with, sorry about this. So I stuck with the logo at the top corner like the website does, and kept the big title that said the impact of Crowd2Map on rural Tanzania, and tried to talk a bit about what the impact was. And so there were a lot of metrics to work with. And so I divided that into 3 categories: projects and infrastructure that had been mapped, amenities that had been mapped, and the volunteers who had contributed to making that possible down here. So I put up the metrics here. I don't know if you could see those there, the number of projects, the areas that had been covered, and the roads. And then I went heavy on the pictures to get some engagement up here. And then for amenities, I tried to do like a, pie chart, but not a pie chart, if that makes any sense. And so I used the data we had to kind of build and show the percentage of hospitals that had been mapped on the Tanzanian map. So I used Photoshop to cut out an image of the Tanzanian map and place it over a bar chart. So it kind of looks like a pie chart, so to speak. But yeah, that's how I achieved that. So I put that in 3 places and covered it with a blank. So it looks like it does here. So I wanted to go heavy on communicating the impact. And so I got this picture by Sheila Murphy, just to show African girls next to the 3,000 metric KPI we were working with. And then for our contributors, I had to clean the data to make sure it was showing the right number of countries. So we have people from 58 countries, and at different countries, you can see who sent in what. So this is this should be someone in Ukraine. Not everyone sent in their pictures, so sometimes the picture doesn't change on the embedded web object, but the idea was to be able to show the contributors in the visualization. So yeah, that was my idea, to be able to fully communicate the impact rural Crowd2Map had on rural Tanzania in one big web page, so to speak. So yeah, that's the Viz. So I achieved this using, so I did 1 dashboard, 14 sheets, 5 images, 12 text boxes. I stuck with the tile format. I had 1 map and then 1 web object. And sorry, stop me if I'm going too fast. I'm trying to beat the clock. Yeah. So
I didn't. Don't worry.
Yeah, all right. So I didn't go too heavy on the tooltips and interactivity because I assume this is for the general public. So the Viz really has tooltips and interactivity only on the map and the map object at the bottom. So it's more an infographic, so to speak, not really like a business kind of dashboard. Yeah, and I did this using Excel, Tableau Prep, and Tableau itself, desktop creator, and I used Photoshop, and that's about it, I guess. Did I miss anything? No, I think that's it. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for that
listening.
great presentation and like your whole thought process. It's a great Viz, and I love how much emphasis you put on making sure that your design fits with the website, etc., and also your commitment to communicating the impact. That's been fantastic. Yes, as Frederick says, great Viz. Does anyone in the crowd have any questions for Francis?
No. Yes.
I'm guessing that's no. So I have a question for you. I've always, maybe this is a little bit off topic, but I've always really admired people who can do something like create custom visuals in Photoshop and bring them in. Was it a difficult process, and how did that work for you?
So I have a background in photography, so it wasn't that difficult for me to know what apps I needed to use to edit. Actually, I made a mistake in the Viz because I mixed up the numbers, and so I was hoping Sam would be here so I could thank him for showing me. So the idea of this Viz didn't come all at once. It was a bit smaller, and then the idea kind of grew. And so when Sam saw my Viz, he was like, "Oh, you made a mistake in a couple of numbers." And so when I fixed the numbers, the idea for the Tanzania map thing came up, and so it was easy to just go to Photoshop and cut out Tanzania and put in there. So I think my background in photography helped.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much. All right. So let's move on to Viz number 3. Hello, Satoshi. Welcome. And can I get you to share your screen and show us your Viz?
Yes, I will. Hello, everyone. I'm Satoshi from Japan. I joined Viz For Social Good in 2018, and I am one of Japan chapter leader of Viz For Social Good. And thank you for choosing my Viz, and I'm so honored to introduce my Viz here. First, in making this piece, I read the Viz For Social Good web page, and also I read the Crowd2Map Tanzania web page. And I was deeply impressed with their activity. In particular, these contents, it's introduced in related articles, but so impressive. This is an article about a woman in United Kingdom. She could not get out of her house due to COVID-19, but he worked as a volunteer and did mapping buildings and roads in Tanzania using satellite images from United Kingdom. The activities by volunteer started with each single edit on map service, but these edits are gathered from all over the world, and buildings and roads in Tanzania are mapped. The first map here is I wanted to indicate and express such an image. This map shows locations mappers, volunteer mappers, and each dot from all over the world is gathered and leads to next step. The second chart shows number of edits by month. Each dot indicates each one edit, and it's gathered. In Tanzania, the next step is done by local staffs by using an application in mobile phones. And detailed information about buildings is entered into web map service. I tried to express how these activities contributed to the creation of Tanzania's map with these text messages and bar charts showing the ratio in entire buildings or hospitals or schools in Tanzania. Finally, I mentioned about the map created supports activities against FGM by Hope for Girl and Woman, and already protected over 3,000 girls and women saved. It's quick, but this is explanation about my visualization. Thank you for listening to my poor English. Thank you.
That's perfect. Thank you so much. What a beautiful and beautiful visualization that also covers so much information. I love this chart that you have here with the edits. I would not have known how to visualize that, and you did a really fantastic job. All right, do we have any questions for Satoshi at all?
Yes, I've got a question.
Go for it.
I was wondering, how did you build the bar chart? I think it's really nice.
Here, do you mean?
Yeah. Yes, the bar chart.
Yeah, it's called, it's a technique called data densification. Right. You can Google search Tableau data densification. You can find how to make
thank you.
This kind of visualization.
I'm writing that one down too. Yes, it's very cool. Wonderful. I have to say, I love the way you here have also, I've noticed a pattern of like really keeping in lines with the design of the website as well. So I think this is great. Should fall in quite nicely. And I think further to Kevin's, who was Kevin? Yeah, Kevin's comment here in the chat. I really like the call to action at the bottom with the donate buttons, etc.
Yeah, it's by clicking, it jumps to website of Crowd2Map Tanzania.
Awesome. And what are the other two call to actions that you have there?
Not how we map. It's we'll jump to the introduction page of the.
Oh, very cool.
Yes. And one more is the entrance to website of Crowd2Map Tanzania.
Wonderful. I like it. Very beautiful, very informative, and very interactive. I like it. Thank you so much for sharing your visualization with us.
Thank you very much.
Okay, then I think we will move on to our next of the 6 selected visualizers. So I will hand the stage over to Nicholas.
Hello, Joe. So just me share my screen. Took this one. Share. Okay. So first of all, so I'm Nicholas. I'm from Paris area in France. So sorry for my bad English in advance, but I'm going to do my best to be understandable. So first of all, it's my first participation to Viz For Social Good, and I'm how to say I'm going to talk to you about the design process. So how I made this vision. The first thing is that we start from a blank page, and then after we have the summary of the topic. We gather information. We start to analyze. We have more information when we look at this website to understand how it works, how work the contributors. We've got remote contributors. We've got local contributors. And my conclusion was that we have a lot of volunteers. And my point of view was to say, okay, I'm going to create a vision with a message, and the message is in 3 things. The first thing was to say thank you, because we have more than 16,000 volunteers to work on the very huge work. And the first thing was thank you. So if I understood, in Swaziland, the thank you, it's said as asante sana. And for each point of the message, I wanted to thank someone. So each time we've got, for each point, all the people that have participated either locally, either remotely, to map the country. The second thing is that what's the impact? So the impact, I stayed on 3 KPI. The first thing is the number of girls that have been rescued for 5 years. The second one was to map the kilometers of road and map the number of houses, buildings that have been mapped over more than 9,000 villages. So why I stayed on this KPI? It's just that there's, on my point of view, 2 things. The first thing is that how to help the girls from preventing the risk of FGM. To make it, you need to know where the people is living. So to make sure to know where they're living, you need to have the roads, you need to have the buildings. And after that, you've got some additional information like the schools, the clinics, the point of waters. It's, I would say, larger subject. And I think that it could be another data viz. For me, the main point was, okay, we want someone to rescue where the girl is living, in this road, in this street, and at this place. So the message was, first of all, thank you to all the volunteers. The second one is, thank to you, 3,000 girls have been rescued. And the third step was to say how to contribute. If you are a new volunteer, if you want to be involved, you can contribute by 3 ways. The first of all, it's, I would say, a mistake of my business. The first of all is to map, to help to map, because I just checked the website, and we have the introduction just before. it's a very huge work. It's very complex and it takes a lot of time. So in this place, the first thing is to help to map. So there is 128 projects with a lot of tasks. There is a process to map in the first time, just then to be validated. So it's a huge, huge work. The second step is to donate, because each association, there is what we call cost fix. And giving money is a way to help the association to train the mappers, to train the people to communicate. And the third step is to say how to communicate. So it's a link each time. We have the link to Facebook, to Instagram, to Twitter, to LinkedIn. Each time you click on something, if you click here, you will go to the website. And if you, how to make it, sorry. Okay, let's go back to, okay. If you click on the map, you will see the project task. And if you go to each, if you click on each social network, you will go to the website on the site. So I will say that my message was to say thank you to the volunteers. What the impact since 5 years and how we can go on and contribute to make it happen and to make it to continue to map Tanzania. And for the graphical chart, so just go back to the website. Sorry, I'm going to, okay. So it's a choice for the graphical layout. I make it with a Figma design. That was my first attempt with Figma design, just to have better layout, rounded corners, beautiful font, and blah, blah, blah. And I decided to stick with the logo. Why? It's just because it's the colors of your flag, and it's something important for this association. So this is why I stayed on the color of the flags. That's it.
Wonderful, thank you. That's absolutely gorgeous. And I think I've been looking at the chat here, and all of the things that I found impressive seem to be very much what everyone else was saying as well. The fact that you based your whole visualization around saying thank you, I think is absolutely beautiful. Yes, the story is very clear. I'm so impressed with how sort of minimalistic and simple the data visualization is, but how much you're actually telling that story with it. It's incredible. The piece about the impact, and then how we can contribute. I think it's fantastic.
It was my goal. My initial goal was to say, okay, I'm going to create something, and I want this to be printable as a flyer. And so someone can just print it out and communicate on it on an event or whatever. But just we've got the interaction, but you have the capacity to print the database in addition.
I love it. Fantastic. There were a couple of questions in the chat around the sharing of the data, but I believe that's all been covered by Janet. In the interest of time, as we still have 2 more visualizations to go through, I'm going to go ahead and say thank you to you again. But also I will be handing over to Frederick, who will be showing us a video from Sam Parsons, who is our next Viz sharer.
Yes, so I hope you can
see
my screen.
There, yes.
Can you see the screen? Yeah. So I'm going to start playing, and obviously I won't have to type myself, but sit down and watch.
Hello everybody, my name is Sam Parsons, and I had wished to be there with you today, but I had a work commitment put in my diary that I couldn't get out of, so I'm having to pre-record this ahead of the event. This is actually the 3rd attempt because I keep running over my time slot. So I'll try and keep this a little bit shorter. And I'm going to try to explain this visualization and the reasonings behind what I did. I just want to say also thank you for choosing this visualization as one of the ones to be presented today. And as always, it's an honor to speak with you all. So like any Viz for Social Good, I usually end up having to do a little bit of research about the organization for each project because I normally haven't heard of them. And the same could be said for Crowd2Map Tanzania. And so before I could start on this visualization, I needed to do my research by looking through the website and watching some of the great content that they've put together about explaining what FGM is and the issues in Tanzania around their mapping, but also looking at the data set that was provided in the brief. And the data set that was provided was a combination of some real statistics celebrating all the efforts so far in the last 5 years of Crowd2Map Tanzania, and more detailed information about the volunteers, locations around the world, and the number of edits that they've been doing in that time. So obviously I did my research and watched those videos, and I felt that I wanted to focus this visualization on really sort of celebrating the impact that Crowd2Map has been able to achieve in Tanzania. But before I could display any of those stats, what I had to do is have to really try to explain what the issue is, first of all. And that's where I took this. So I wanted to take the reader through the issues of FGM, explain what it actually is and where the girls end up in the safe houses, brought in some statistics from the Crowd2Map Tanzania's own Tableau Public site that I asked if I could do that, and I was allowed. And that really sort of helps get people invested into the data and the story, I think. Just that little bit extra, really sort of chastening statistics that 83% of arrivals are between 10 and 16 years old, and 30% of them have underlying health issues. And I would explain the issue of there's problems with the mapping in Tanzania. You've got these issues of FGM going on in Tanzania and the girls having to go to safe houses. But what can you do if you can't find them? And look at this. Look at the stats on the population. How many people there are in Tanzania and the area that they could be sort of spread out in. If you've got poor maps, how can you find those people at risk? And this is where I wanted to go into explaining that Crowd2Map Tanzania are the organisation that are looking to really, or one of the organisations looking really to battle this issue. And then I needed to explain what Crowd2Map Tanzania do and the process for that. In my eyes, it was threefold. It was volunteers around the world are looking at using the internet and satellite images to identify new roads and buildings and map that and sort of mark those out using technology. And then the locals down in Tanzania can then pick that up and use their local knowledge to add names and identify what those buildings are. And that information obviously is used to save girls. And then from there, hopefully you would start to get the reader a bit more invested in what's happening or what's happening over in Tanzania and how Crowd2Map are helping. And then I wanted to display the stats, the real big stats. And I could have done this in Tableau and made it more of an interactive and tooltips and things, but there's no point in pushing interactivity into something that doesn't need it, in my opinion. So I kept the Tableau side of this very light. It's more of an infographic, it's more sort of a design impact piece. And that's where I really wanted to draw the eye to the big statistic that I think is the most important one, which is the 3,000 girls saved from FGM. And that is just a crazy, crazy good stat, and something they should, the Crowd2Map team should be very proud of. I put some annotations around some of the statistics just because some of them I think just need a little bit more than just being able to say that area covered is 120,000 square kilometers. And stuff like putting just my own personal viewpoints in there. 96 hospitals added. I just think that's crazy, honestly. How can just one hospital not be on a map, let alone 96 around the country? It's strange from somebody from this side of the world to be able to try and understand that. So really what I wanted to do with this was to really sort of tell the story, map it out, how Crowd2Map come into it, and then really the big sort of impact that they've had. And then I finished it off with a piece of You Can Help, displaying where the volunteers worldwide have coming from using the map, and linking the key points to some donation button, not donation, but some buttons at the bottom that you can get more information. So better mapping is key to aiding the fight of FGM, so why not join and become a volunteer? Real people are at the end of this process. Remember that, and maybe donate if you can. Help stop female genital mutilation, or maybe learn about what Crowd2Map are doing to stop that. And that was it. It's quite a short sort of piece. I've gone over by about 1.5 minutes, but and I suppose the other thing I can really sort of say is that I stole the colors and the fonts from the Crowd2Map website, from the HTML. So I wanted to really try and brand it so it looks part of what they're doing. And I would sort of encourage other people to do that, where you are allowed to brand things using other companies' brandings. And that's it. So thank you for listening, and I'll cut it there because otherwise I'll go on way too long. Okay, thank you.
I could listen to Sam for hours. I don't know about you, but that was amazing. I thought.
Yeah, that was. We also his design work is incredible, as many of you have mentioned here. And actually, in the Netherlands Tableau user group, we had some breakout rooms, and we invited him to come in and speak about his design process, because it's just absolutely fascinating, the visualizations that he makes. So Sam wasn't able to be with us here today, so we can't really ask him any questions right now, but I am very sure that if you reach out to him on Twitter or on the Slack channels with any questions for him, he'll be more than happy to answer them. But for now, let's move on to our 6th winner of the day. So I will hand over the stage to Quentin. I think you're on mute.
Yep. Yep, still getting used to Zoom, sorry. If everything goes right, you all can see my screen now. And thank you for inviting me to talk a little bit about this presentation. In daily life, I work for the municipality of Amsterdam. I work for the Department of Engineering, doing traditional data visits for C-suite and the board of directors. So it's nice to have a challenge like this that pushes the boundaries a bit and lets me explore the more creative side. Most of the things that I did has already been said in previous presentations, like putting the call to action first. That's something that I also did. I put them front and center. So I went in with the idea of making a Viz for regular people that don't know what Crowd2Map is, what they do, and with the decision to explore a little bit what Crowd2Map wants people to do. So what I thought is you wanted to join the effort, so you're looking for volunteers. You're always in need of money, so you want them to donate them, and you want to drive traffic to your site. So a button to learn a little bit more in detail what they do. Also, in this day and age, social media is more and more prevalent and important. I put all the links over here, so they're readily available. If people only have the time or take the effort to read a little bit and think, this is awesome, I want to share, they can do it immediately. All the buttons are interactive, so the links work. I can show them very quickly. There we go. So I started with a little bit of exploration what Crowd2Map is and what it does. Yeah, that cutting is prevalent, and approximately 10% overall has had to undergo female genital mutilation. I then went further to show the big ass numbers, but the girls that they were able to rescue front and center, just make it a tiny bit bigger to draw the attention, to draw the eye, focused on the number of volunteers, focused on the total area that the volunteers were able to map to this date. And I then went further to explore where are all the volunteers from. So I put, like most others, oh, what's happening? Okay, Tableau decided to refresh. Put the world map over here. This one is interactive, so if you're able to zoom in and out, and it should show you the names or the usernames of the contributors. Sorry. So with, again, a little call to action here to join the effort if you want to add your name to the map to further drive, hopefully, more volunteers to this charity. And then I closed it off with a pretty wild visualization in which I started out with an idea to replicate an African pattern of sorts, but then I decided, well, after a quick Google search that also showed me patterns from all over the world, while I specifically went looking for African ones and Tanzanian ones. So I decided to abandon that idea and make it a general pattern. And I focused on 4 different metrics here. I focused on the hospitals, the schools, the number of clinics, and the number of villages. And I did it in a way that only the parts that they are actually mapped are colored, and the ones that aren't yet colored are in black and white. So everything over here that is black and white is work that still needs to be done, so to say. And if people find this interesting and they want to interact, well, why don't you join the effort and help to fill in this pattern and color it all the way through? So that's a very quick overview of what I did. I forgot to mention that I also put some collages in between to keep it interesting. And those are inspired by Julie Brenet, also better known as Data Citron. And she does an amazing job. So I tried to emulate that in my own little way. And I hope I succeeded in making something that everybody enjoys. So that's, in an overview, my idea and what I did. And right on time.
Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you so much for sharing that. That was absolutely incredible. Those the visuals that you put together and that pattern chart at the bottom. Where do you even get ideas like that? That's incredible.
Thank you.
There's lots of very positive comments for you in the chat over here. Yes, indeed, very gorgeous, gorgeous pattern chart here. If anyone has any questions, maybe drop them into the chat. We are running slightly behind, so I'm going to go directly over back to Janet, who is going to talk us through the top 3 selected visits and what will be happening with them. Before we do, I just want to say to all 6 of you who presented, incredible work. Thank you so much for participating in this project. Over to you, Janet.
Thank you so much, and thank you to all of the presenters. They were absolutely amazing. So it's very, very hard to choose a top 3. So I'd like to invite Naledi and Simon also to say their comments. Particularly Naledi, who has a huge amount of experience in data visualization. Naledi, do you want to say a little bit?
Yeah, can do. So thanks again to everybody for all the work that you've put into it. And I love all the background research that's happened, and it clearly shows that people are invested, and we're really trying to do a great job. And I think there are very challenging parts about this data, because you're in a lot of ways stuck with just showing a few numbers that don't necessarily have much to do with each other. So sort of coming up with a way to like show the bands, or do it in a more infographic style. It was good to see the different approaches that people took there, when in this case something like a typical bar chart or something doesn't really do it, but you still want to do it in a way that's creative. What we do want to do with these is to take inspiration from all of these visualizations that were submitted, and see which ones we can reuse on the website, and try to automate the data in the back end, so that we can keep the viewers of the site updated about what's being achieved by Crowd2Map in a more sort of engaging way, to really showcase all the great impact that Crowd2Map is having.
Thank you. Certainly there are some amazing bits from all of the presentations, in fact, that I think can be used in different ways. So for example, the collages, I think are really amazing for graphics for social media, and some would be really fantastic for poster presentations and so on, and some would be really brilliant for the website, as Naledi said. Simon, would you like to add anything?
Not really. I'd just like to acknowledge what a huge amount of work has been put into these, and like you say, Janet, there's a couple there that could be used as multifunction as they stand as web assets, or easily translated into something like a conference flyer or a conference poster, for instance. And it's really good to see that they're versatile in that way as well. But it's a huge effort from everybody, and they're fantastic to see. Thanks.
Thank you. Naledi, I don't know if you want to say your top three or not, if we really have to do that.
It's very hard to decide, because there's sort of aspects that I liked from all of them. So definitely the one by was it Samuel? The one in black. I thought what I liked about that was the way that it really integrates very well with the design of the site, and so you can really imagine those visualizations being taken. And I especially like the infographic style of presenting the numbers. I thought that was that would be something that we could sort of directly import almost. I also thought that Delphine's visualization was great, that it was sort of straightforward and easy to understand, and simple to find your way through. And I thought there was a very sort of clean look about it, and also sort of a very nice use of color, very sort of like scaled back, and just making sure that you just make the things that are important pop. And then I think, as I said in the chat as well, and sorry, I forgot the name of the small visualization that has sort of the really good storytelling aspect, that's sort of very sort of flyer like. I thought that was just a really clever way to, because there was actually a lot of data, even though it was a little bit disjointed, to really bring it down to a point and sort of express the things that that person thought were most important, and express it in a really engaging way.
Thanks. Yes, I would totally agree with that. I also really loved Francis's use of photographs and the map filling up. I thought that was really clever. I loved Nicholas's use of Swahili Asante-san. I thought that was, and the colours of the flag and so on. Yes, Sam's was absolutely beautiful. I really liked Delphine's very clear dashboard, and I loved Quintin's use of collage and so on. So there were some really, really fantastic things in all of them. It was really hard even to find these 6 shortlists from all of the visualizations that were done. So thank you everyone that's been involved in this project. It's been absolutely amazing for us, and we will definitely use all of your work going forward. So thank you.
Fantastic.
We've got 6 winners, have we?
Yeah, it seems like it. All 6 are winners. So yeah, a huge congratulations to all of you, and thank you so much for your hard work. Is there, if anyone has any extra questions, I've been monitoring the chat. It's been just mostly praise of this incredible work. But if anyone has any questions, you can have time for them now. Okay, well, if we don't have any questions, the very last thing that we have to do is to say thank you. So if you're seeing my screen again now, I just want to say a very big thank you to all of the volunteers who have participated in the project with Crowd2Map. A big thank you to Crowd2Map for sharing your data with us. Thank you to Janet, Naledi, and Simon for being here today. And then, of course, to our top 6 presenters, Delphine, Francis, Satoshi, Nicholas, Sam, and Quintin. Thank you for sharing your data stories with us and your beautiful visualizations. And if you'd like any more information on Viz For Social Good, you can find us, or you can contact us at info@vizforsocialgood.com. On vizforsocialgood.com, the website, or you can find us on Twitter at VizFSG. And yeah, thank you so much for being here today, for taking the time, and we hope to see you again soon.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Good night. Good morning. Good afternoon.
Thank you.
And I'll send the video recording as well. I'll put that on YouTube.
Thanks.
Ciao. Au revoir.
Bye-bye.